Hello, and welcome to the first 12 Points webinar for 2025. We have an exciting and educational lineup of webinars for this year, and please take a look on our website and choose some of the better ones that have meaning to listen to this year. Today's webinar, the topic's a little bit different than our normal topics. We usually are focused on financial planning or on investing. And today we're going to talk about how you spend your time during retirement, because retirement is your biggest investment. Many of you started investing for your retirement the day you started working and have been saving for decades and have maybe saved several $100,000 or maybe even a few $1 million. So this is the biggest investment you have in your life, and we like to encourage and help our clients figure out how to spend those years, invest their years to get them to be the best years of their life. So before we get started, let me take a second to introduce myself. My name is Barbara Mayetta, and I am a financial advisor here at 12 Points. And I work primarily with clients who are approaching the end of their primary career or are early in retirement. And I say primary career because these days so many people in their retirement continue working or find new careers or maybe spend a lot of time volunteering, which is just like a career. It's just you're not getting paid for it. And I believe that people deserve to be challenged to see the possibility for what their lives can be in retirement, because you're going to be spending a lot of time there. Make it the best. So if you've joined our webinar today, you're probably thinking about retirement. And when we talk to people who are thinking about retirement, we talk to them about financial readiness. Are they ready to retire? Do they have enough money to retire? Are they going to need to continue working? Do they have a plan, a financial plan to get them through retirement? But today we really want to talk more about how you're going to invest your time and discover what would give you meaning and how you can intentionally design your retirement to be have meaning and purpose and be the best years of your life, because you're going to be spending a long time in retirement. Or maybe I should say, chances are good you will be. So how long do you think you're going to live? Well, if you're a 65-year-old woman today, your life expectancy is almost 87 years. 65-year-old man, just a couple of years left. And there's a good likelihood that you will live to 94, if not longer. And for many people, this is going to be 20 years longer than your grandparents lived. That's how much life expectancy has changed over the past couple of generations. So if you want to see, based on your current age, how long you should think about living, life expectancy, I don't know if you all know this, but the older you get, the farther out your life expectancy is. So if you're 55 and joining us today thinking of retiring in 10 years, well, your life expectancy, if you're a woman, is about 86 years old. If you're 60, that goes up to 86 years old. And it keeps increasing the older that you get. So start thinking about, how are you going to fill all these years and keep them meaningful and purposeful and years that you can enjoy? So this isn't new. This retirement being longer has been forced retirees in the past 20, 25 years to think about retirement differently. When our parents retired, and when I say our, I'm talking about people who are, over 50 today. When our parents retired, about 22% of them looked at retirement as being a new chapter in life. And today, Retirees, about 55% are thinking about retirement as being a new chapter in life. So what does that mean for us? Well, that means we have to figure out what we're going to do with that new chapter in life. We can't just not go to work one day and sit back and play golf for the rest of our life, because our lives are going to be a lot longer, and we're not going to be happy playing golf every day for 25, 30 years. So with retirement, and especially longer retirements, there are some challenges that we need to think about for how do we make sure that these retirements are good, that my retirement, your retirement is good. So one of the first challenges that people have when they leave their job is they lose their identity. Our identity is what differentiates us from other people, and it defines what our value is in the world. In retirement, you kind of can identify the folks who haven't quite figured out yet what their identity is in retirement. I give it the cocktail party test. You meet somebody new, you ask them, "So, what do you do?" And they answer, "I'm a retired accountant," or "I'm a retired mechanic," or "I'm a retired nurse." Well, no, that's not what you do. That's what you used to do. So now we need to figure out, what is it that we do now that we're retired? The second challenge in helping to figure out what do I do now is finding my purpose. Also, while we were working, work gave us purpose. It was how I'm making a difference in the world. And maybe it wasn't just work, it was also raising our family. That really gave us a purpose in life. But by the time we get to retirement, well, our kids, they have grown up, and if we're lucky, they are out taking care of themselves, and we're not as needed by them anymore, which is good. But at the same time, it takes away from some of the purpose that we had in life. So now we have to find more purpose. So how can I make a difference in life? What would make me feel like I'm useful? And how do I find that opportunity to make that difference? Another challenge that we have in retirement is having some structure. So what's going to get me up in the morning? What's going to give me the purpose to turn off Netflix, other than, of course, the fact that Netflix just raised their rates again? But how do I need some purpose, and not just a to-do list, in order to put that structure back in my life. So structure is going to be really important to making sure that we're filling our days with things that are of purpose to us, and not just that we're filling our days with whatever's available because I don't want to be watching TV all day. And the last challenge that we see in retirement, and this is a big one, is maintaining those social connections. When you first leave work, you're going to be sad. There are going to be people that you spend a lot of time with and that you enjoy. And if you've had a really wonderful experience, like I have here at 12 Points, you think of these people as being family. And it's sad, but they're work friends, and some of them will keep in touch after you leave, but they're still going to be working. They still have their own family. So you need to figure out, how do I maintain social connection? And maybe many of your friends are moving south. You don't want to move south, or they're moving away to go be with their children. So we have to figure out, how do I make friends again? Because maybe I haven't made friends for a very long time. Maintaining social connection becomes something that it is worthwhile working on. And not just when you first retire, but throughout retirement, because this is a huge issue as people get older and maybe start to lose some of their mobility and are a little more homebound. We need to figure out how to maintain social connection, because that's such an important part of feeling, of having happiness, and they're now tying it to longevity, having that social connection. Now, I don't want to make it sound like retirement is just a big challenge. You've come a long way. Maybe, I'm going to use the average age of 65, 67, but by the time you get to retirement, a lot of good things have happened in your life, and you're in a much better place now because of it. For most people, by this point in their lives, they've stopped measuring themselves by the metrics of their youth. Right? We stop trying to look like the model on the front of the magazine. We start to recognize that where we are in our career or what we've done with our lives, it's actually been a lot now that I look back at it. And now I can actually feel better about all that I have done because I have gained so much in life. And I can be more focused upon this. Because I've been through a lot in life, the good as well as the challenges, I have increased confidence because I know I can handle these situations now, right? That call in the middle of the night that somebody in my family has gone to the hospital. Oh boy, when you were in your 20s, you would just freak out over that. And now it's, okay, what do we need to do? Where are we going to go for our help? We know how to find this and handle the situation unlike we ever would have before. And with all this new knowledge, we build wisdom. So wisdom is really being able to take all of that information that you have and begin to use it to make decisions quicker and better, and to be able to share that wisdom and help the other people in our lives make better decisions because I have made better decisions as a result of this. And the other thing that we look at is that people, as they get to be a little bit older, take more time to attend to their self-care. And this is going to help us tremendously as we go through the final years of our life, understanding and knowing how we're going to take care of ourselves. So you've got a lot going for you now. Now, how are we going to use that going forward? So right now, based on the new retirement, some industry experts have defined this. There's a wonderful group out of Canada called AgeWave, and they've been studying retirement for 40, 50 years now. And they've just recently updated their stages of retirement to reflect the changes that have happened with longevity, the changes that have happened with the workforce, more women working, more women retiring now than ever before, to 4 stages. And one of the newer stages they added a little while ago was the anticipation. So anticipation now is actually getting longer because what that means is people are starting to prepare for retirement. So not just, a year before I'm thinking, I'm going to hit 65, I ought to be talking about leaving work. Maybe I don't even know why I'm thinking about leaving work, other than that's the age everybody does it at. But people are thinking about this more and beginning to think more about what can I do in anticipation for retirement to make my retirement more valuable to me. And then there's a period when you first get into retirement, many people experience at first a liberation. I don't have to go to work. I'm going to play golf. I'm going to play tennis. I'm going to go travel. I'm going to spend every day with my grandchildren. What is it that I'm liberated to do now that I've wanted to do more of? But then after a little while, that kind of liberation wears off, or sometimes refer to that liberation as the permanent vacation time. All the things that I wanted to do on vacation. But when that wears off, it can be very disorienting, right? I don't feel like playing golf today. Whoops, now what am I going to do instead? The next phase, you find that often after people go through this disorientation, they spend some time reinventing themselves, and they figure out and they adjust how to reinvent what they do during these retirement years. And the final phase is more of a reflection and resolution. As things are quieting down in life, and then maybe I can't put the energy into that reinvention anymore. I reflect upon what my life has been. So what I wish for all of you as we go through this and think about this is that you think about using your time in anticipation so that you spend less time in disorientation, and maybe you plan out your liberation so that you deliberately go through your liberation while also transitioning to your reinvention, so you can kind of skip the disoriented part. And also that we take care of ourselves, and we'll talk about that a little bit later, so that maybe there's more than 3 to 14 years in reinvention, but that I can reinvent myself for when I'm in really good health and when my health starts to decline a little bit, and I understand how I can have purpose and meaning for as long as possible, and that reflection and resolution period maybe can become a little bit shorter. So how do we intentionally live a meaningful and successful next phase? So I'm going to talk now about 4 things we want you to think about in starting out on your adventure to designing your life in retirement. How do you go about creating it? Well, the first thing we find that's most important for folks to successfully do this is to have a mindset that is open to your possibilities. Many people will go into retirement thinking, oh, I'm just going to, I pick on golf a lot, so please, golf players out there, don't hold that against me, but I'm going to spend a lot of time doing the golfing, or I'm going to spend time with the grandchildren. They don't necessarily think about what gives them real purpose and how they're going to use their time to be the best years of their life. Be open to that. In order to do this, you need to spend some time finding and exploring what your passions are. And this is a different kind of work. A lot of people don't necessarily enjoy that kind of inner look at themselves. We're going to give you a few hints today about how to get started. And then it requires a plan. You probably had a plan when you were in college as to where you were going to go after college. You probably had a plan, a little plan for, how you were going to get to where you wanted to be in your career. And you probably had to throw out that plan and redo it a few times as you went along. So having a plan to help guide you through your journey so that you meet some of those goals that you have is really important. And it's really important to invest in your physical and financial health so that you have the resources, that would be your body and your money, to get you through all of those years. Let's talk first about mindset. Your mindset is a series of perceptions or beliefs that people hold about themselves. So how do you think about yourself? And what's your, what do you think insofar as what your abilities are? And what do you think insofar as how you feel about moving forward? Am I well set up for that? Do I have the capabilities? Am I motivated? Or am I locked into we're going to call it later, a fixed mindset of this is exactly how it's going to be. I know that, and that's what I'm going to do, and I want to put my blinders on and not see the rest. So I'm going to start on the right-hand side of this page with the fixed mindset. So when your mindset is fixed, then yeah, you can hear from the tone of my voice, this is the place I'd rather you don't spend as much time, but all of us will spend some time here. All of us do spend some time here. You think to yourself, okay, I can't do this. I don't want to do this. What I have is good enough, and this is going to be a lot of work, just not worth it. What we got works. We'll stay here. When you hear yourself saying those words or thinking those words, I want you to try to ask yourself, wait a minute, should I have a more open mindset? Would that make me a happier person to be doing things a little bit differently, even though it might be hard? When you get yourself over to the growth mindset, yeah, you can try something different. And yeah, I really can do my best work. And let me make it better. And this might take some time and some effort, but this is worthwhile because in this particular case, this is your retirement. This is 20 or 30 more years of your life. So try to keep yourself off of the fixed, onto the growth, so that you take advantage of the opportunities that you have. The second area, and this is where I know for a lot of people, they kind of look at me and say, oh, geez, this is hard to do. I've tried to do this in the past. It's really hard to look at my passions, but it's also really exciting. Your passions, this is what compels you to wake up early and stay up late, right? Think of projects that you've done in your life, whether it's building the shed outside, or, it's a project that you had for work that was really exciting and you stayed up late night after night trying to get this done because you were really excited about this. When I wrote this presentation for the first time 6 months ago, I was really excited about this because I'm really excited about trying to motivate people to look at their retirement differently so that they are happier and more motivated through these years. And that, for me, is a passion because I think there are a lot of people who will have a better life if they take the effort to do this. Your passions can help change your life. Your passions provide purpose, motivation. Maybe to really get into your passion, you need to develop more skills. Well, that's learning. That is so great for us. And after you learn all that, you're going to have more confidence. So exploring and figuring out your passion is a huge payoff for you. But gosh, Barbara, how do we do that? All right, so where do you start? From a very high level, there are two places. You look inward and you look outward. You spend time in your own mind and you examine passions that you knew you had from other times in your life. I like to suggest to people that they think of their life in various phases. From when I was a kid, what was a passion of mine that I used to do? Oh, well, as a kid, those are kid things. It doesn't really matter anymore. I'll use an example for me. I used to shoot archery as a kid. You think of that as something kids do. Well, that's on my little list of things that I enjoyed doing as a kid. Well, I've discovered now that adults shoot archery. Adults can shoot archery competitively. There's a whole archery community out there for adults. And, it's been a lot of fun for me to explore. So thinking about maybe what I loved to do in college, that maybe they wouldn't be things I do anymore. Drinking straight from a keg might just not be there for me anymore. But there are many things that maybe I stopped doing. Maybe I stopped doing as I started working or after I had kids because there wasn't time for it anymore. And maybe some of them are things I might want to dust off, or some version of them are. Also, spending time thinking in your own mind, read some books, read some articles, websites, podcasts. There's so much information out there that just listening to it can spawn ideas in your head. And, I also want to tell people that in the moment an idea, your inner voice speaks to you, write it down. That now, just jot down notes, and every now and then look at those notes to say, oh yeah, when I was thinking about what I did as a kid, I thought about building something that I built with my dad. That was a lot of fun. Okay, so what could I build now? I mean, the house is all in good shape, don't need to build anything. All right, maybe this is when I say, gosh, would I love doing that maybe and give back at the same time? Maybe it's Habitat for Humanity. I could go out and build houses again, use my carpentry skill set. So just give thought to where you've been and where that might take you in the future. The other thing to do in thinking of your passions is spending time in the world. Talk to people, and then more people, and then more people. There are plenty of other people who are in the same phase of life, thinking about getting ready for retirement or already there, who have, had experiences trying to find their passion, or talk to them about what they're doing, because they can give you ideas. If they could do it, you can do it. They give you ideas. Once again, jot down a word, jot down anything your inner voice tells you while you're talking to them. And go try out some new activities. Go build a house with Habitat for Humanity and find out if that gives you enough carpentry experience that you really enjoy it or not, right? And volunteering, there's lots of volunteer opportunities out there. You can get some experience, you can try the new activities, and keep going until you find one that you want to stick with. Here's some questions, and I probably should have mentioned earlier that after this webinar, you will receive an email from us with a link to the webinar. Along with, there'll be a handout on here, which will include this passion section, as well as at the end of this, I have a list of books that I think are worthwhile looking at. So those will all be included in what we send out to you. So these questions will be there. But here are some questions, and I'm not even going to read them to you, but spend some time alone thinking about these, and also find people who are also in the same boat as you're in and talk to them about these things. Hearing other people's answers to these questions can help you with new perspectives on, what are your strengths? What am I good at? What puts me in the zone? Hearing other people talk about and explore that helps you think about and explore it also. So also very important, step number 3 here, or the third key, is planning. Why is planning important? Well, it's important because in order to do some planning, you have to know what the goals are you're trying to achieve with that plan. Having goals, you're not going to get where you want to be unless you know where you want to be. So we need some goals. This will force you to get that. Making a plan forces us to think about what we have to do to achieve our goals, and it also keeps you focused. So if I, have some things that I need to do to fulfill my plan, and I put some time frames on it, it'll help keep me focused and moving in that direction. Please remember that planning is an iterative process. You achieve a goal, then you go on to the next goal. You have to create more goals, or you get halfway there and then something changes and you need to replan. That's okay. It's going to be iterative. It's not going to be ongoing like it has been, throughout your life. And planning is not just the checklist, right? This will include the tasks or the steps I need to accomplish. It should include the time frames for doing it. And, our checklist, our to-do list is just a list we check off. But a plan actually says, hey, this is what I need to do. This is the time frame. And these are the resources I need to do it. Who do I need to talk to in order to figure out how to get to my goal? Lots of people I talk to think about going back and teaching in retirement, but they don't know how to get there. They're like, I don't know. How can I figure that out? Probably it starts with talk with other people who have done this. Well, where do I find them? I start asking other people. I myself have a couple of friends who have gone on to teaching in their 60s. It's, just get out there and talk and figure it out for yourself and with other people, but keep the planning going so that you keep moving forward towards achieving your goals. And the last piece that I want to cover is your physical and financial health. So our other webinars that we have throughout the year are going to focus more on that financial security, but it is required. But I'm not really going to touch on that as much because normally we don't touch as much on physical health. But physical health is really important to having a really good retirement. So what do I mean when I say this? Well, let's look at something we call a health span curve. Across the bottom of the axis here is your lifespan. So, over to the left, you're 0 years old. Over to the right is you're no longer alive. But your health span is up the y-axis. And let's hope that most people started out at 100% health when they were born. And that's where we're going to start our health span curve. But over time, our health span will decline. And back before modern medicine, it actually declined pretty quickly in life. So maybe people went through, about half their life, a little less than half their life, before it started going downhill and declined for a long time. The graph got steeper towards the end of life, but it declined for a long time over life, which meant, the years we could really enjoy were those early years. So that doesn't make sense. We don't really want to be there. How do we get our health span to be better throughout more of our life? So given where we are with modern medicine now, I'm going to call that medicine 2.0. I'm take a lot of this. There's a book that I love called Outlive, came out a little over a year ago, New York Times bestseller. I recommend it to anybody, although it is a little bit technical. But thinking of the medicine here 2.0, it's helped our health span a little bit. You see that red line? Your health span is a little better for a little longer in your life. But what medicine 2.0 has really done is when I have a problem, I go to a doctor, and the doctor operates, gives me medicine, he puts me in physical therapy, does things to help that problem get a little bit better, maybe a lot better. But in many cases, what it's done is it's expanded how long we live without necessarily expanding our health span throughout that long time. I have congenital heart failure. I can live longer now, but it's not going to be the good quality life that I want to be living. So what do we want to do? What we want to do is to square that curve. We want to move that out so our health span is way out there and drops quickly right towards the end of our lives. Calling it medicine 3.0, think of it as being very proactive in life here. And this is, people hate me saying it, exercise. And that has been shown to be the thing that, one, improves lifespan the most, but mostly improves health span. So if you do nothing else as a result of this, get yourself moving. Get yourself moving a little every day. But we're talking exercise, we're talking nutrition, we're talking, keeping our brain active. And we're not talking crossword puzzles. We're doing learning. We're talking about continuing to learn. And we're also talking about being more social, making sure that we have those social connections and social interaction, because that is required to keeping ourselves healthy throughout our lifespan. And hopefully what we can really do in this is look forward to the marginal decade. Call that the last year of our life, where for many people, that's the years you went to visit your grandma and grandpa, and, they never got out of the house more than once a week anymore. And mostly when you visited them, you were sitting in their living room having conversations because they weren't up for taking a walk, going to the park, going out and doing, shopping with you, helping you buy your prom dress, all the things they'd like to be doing, but they don't quite have the health to do it. I bet you'd like to have the health to do it. And investing now can make your health better throughout your lifespan and through to the end. So I really want to encourage everybody to begin making these investments. So what do I hope you take away from this presentation today is really what we wish for you. we wish for you in your life, and that you take away from the presentation, is that you have a new view on how longevity can impact your life. That you find what you are passionate about, that you intentionally design the rest of your life, and that you begin, for some of you, maybe it's going to be increasing instead, investing in your health now so that you have wonderful health span for your entire life. All right, so that's all I wanted to cover today. I do want to add, and I'll put this up here for a moment, and this is also included in what we'll be sending out to you. This is books that I've really enjoyed, I think are worthwhile for many people to explore. If you're thinking about how to find purpose in your work, maybe changing your work or doing something completely different, The Unretired is a wonderful book. If you're thinking about your health, Outlive, I mentioned this before. It's a little bit technical, but it's changed my life on how I take care of my body. Also, another wonderful book right above that, Ageless Aging, written by a woman who is part of that Age Wave organization that I mentioned earlier. And this is really for women, but also and a little more prescriptive on exactly what things to do to take care of yourself as you get older. And The Art and Science of Connection. This is a great book for starting to think about, oh gosh, how do I make friends, and what are the levels of my friendships, and how do I deepen them? What can I do to make that whole social connection stronger? Great book. By the way, most of these books I listen to because I'm really big into listening to books, and most of these books are very well narrated also. So please, for questions, we are sending some of this material out to you, but you can reach me at barbara@12points.com. So if there's been any questions, please let me know. I have about 3 more minutes left. I don't see any questions coming up. So hopefully if you are getting close to your retirement, this has been helpful and gotten you on your way to thinking about how do I make those the best years of my life. Thank you, everybody, for joining. Bye-bye.